be.
Anyways, we know the excitement, but we also know that big games like this causes worry. And sometimes it's unnecessary worry, but it is human worry. So we did this before the Packers game, John, where we tried to change the narrative in the city. Instead of asking the question of, what are you concerned about going into this Packers game? Because, man, was that all over the place when it came to the local media. We did the opposite. We did a show of, hey, what is making you confident that they are going to beat the Packers as they should and move forward? We're going to do more of that today. So what makes you confident going into this game against the Commanders on Sunday? But because of the importance of this game, because of what matters in this game, a win, you move to the Super Bowl. We will allow people to come with their logical concerns today. It doesn't have to be a rah-rah shish kebab show. It could be, hey, I'm worried about this, I'm worried about that. And the reason why we do that is because you and I both have some concerns for this game.
Yeah, there's some concerns. And it's weird because Andrew's number one concern is not mine.
Right.
But they sort of they can both be reasons. I will warn you of one thing today.
Okay. What do we
Bram
got?
Weinstein's joining us today.
8:25, right?
We got very animated in our interview on his show.
Okay.
One of the things he did was he started to do oh, yeah, you're going to give me a bunch of excuses about why the Commanders won the last game. And I said, I'm not giving you excuses, Bram. I'm giving you reasons.
Yeah.
And I said, Jalen Hurts takes 11 snaps. They're up 14-0. And then from the rest of the game, you got Kenny Pickett. I said, so don't give me that's a excuse.
No, that's a legit
That is
reason.
a reason.
Yeah.
If Jaden Daniels was to leave a game, you guys wouldn't be saying, you all would be screaming from the rooftops, well, Jaden Daniels was out.
Right.
So don't use it on me. These are not excuses. Yours and mine are not excuses. And I'm going to tell you right now, my concern in this game was a problem in the first matchup and is a problem in the second matchup. And it's the third phase of the game. It's special teams.
Wow.
And the Eagles' kickoff and punt return coverage was the worst in the NFL of all of their games. All the teams they played was the worst versus the Washington Commanders. So our special teams units got punked twice by the Washington Commanders.
Interesting.
So let me give you this one for you, just a few numbers for you. In the two games, this is kick return, punt return. So sometimes you're starting to drive after a kickoff, sometimes after a punt return. 5 of the Commanders' 24 drives, 21% of them in the two games, started at the 40 or beyond. That's absurd. That's terrible that happened. And that's over 2 games. 17 of the 24 drives started beyond the 30. We cannot have that. You cannot have the Commanders getting superior over and over again opportunity with field position with a weapon like Jaden Daniels.
Right.
In the second matchup, 8 of the 13 drives for the Commanders on offense began outside the 30. 5 of the 13 outside the 35. We can't be doing this, folks. And when 5 of the 24 drives have begun outside the 40, I don't know what's going on with the kick coverage versus this team and the punt return coverage, what you're doing. But if you say this is not a big deal, remember one of the major reasons you lost Super Bowl 57. And it was the special teams breaking down at the worst possible moment.
Now, the one retort somebody could give you is, well, if that's the biggest concern that I have, I still feel pretty good about my chances going into a game.
No.
Right?
You and I both feel very good about it.
Yeah, they're winning.
But what we saw in the Super Bowl a few years ago, and that's Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, a little bit different. But what we saw is a breakdown on special teams when you needed it most, put you in a position where you were screwed in the Super Bowl. So to me, since it happened in both games, this is my number one concern. I absolutely believe the Eagles are winning on Sunday. But if you tell me what would be my nagging thought, this is one of them, putting Jaden Daniels on shorter field.
And I think that's a very logical concern to have. So today we're going to talk it out. If you have concerns, let's talk it out. But we also want you to answer the question because this isn't just going to be a negative Nancy show.
No, not at all.
What are you confident in going into this game? Because we have a million of those. John's got one nagging concern. I have one nagging concern. Very confident about literally everything else. So I'm not going to let this one nagging concern ruin my excitement and joy this week leading up to the NFC Championship game.